We are back now with the new book, Secret City, The Hidden History of Gay Washington. It is an epic account of the contributions, compromises, and sacrifices gay Americans made as they tried to serve their country through the 20th century. It's already getting rave reviews. The New York Times calls it rewarding in the extreme. Author James Kirchick joins us now. As I said earlier in the show, James, I thought this was an incredible book as soon as I read it. And people have to understand, it's not just gay history, it's American history.
Right, and that's why I wrote it, because I'm really fascinated in American history, particularly Cold War history. And I realized in all these books I was reading, whether presidential biographies or books about McCarthyism or books about the Reagan era, there was this sort of background issue lurking in the shadows of homosexuality or gay people somehow involved in these stories as advisors or friends. But no one had ever really put it all together.
And I think most people today may not understand that at the time, being gay was considered a serious national security threat.
It was. It starts around World War II, that being gay goes from being just a sin to a national security threat. And the fear is that gay people would be more blackmail. They would be more vulnerable to blackmail, because this was the worst possible secret you could have. It was so shameful. It was condemned by the medical community. It was criminalized across the country. It was religiously condemned as a sin. And so gay people, you could even say they were feared more than communists.
There's so many compelling characters in the book. And one of the interesting things I learned is that not all of them were in the closet.
Right. Well, there's one amazing character. His name is Carmel Offee, who was a diplomat, and then one of the really founding fathers of the CIA, who was a pretty flamboyantly, openly gay person. But that was very rare. I mean, I think he was able to do it because he was so loyal to his boss at the time, and that they were willing to protect him. And this is sort of one of the talents or skills that a lot of the gay people in my book develop, because they're so vulnerable, that they become the most loyal aides, the most loyal servants to people in power. And yet it often doesn't help them at all. One
of the other things you get into is that you've got the two agencies of our national security state, the FBI hunting down gay Americans, the CIA looking to use them.
Right, right, because gay people, if you think about it, could have been really good spies, and some of them were. Because the talents that you need as a spy were the sort of talents that gay people had to have. They had to be able to keep secrets very well. They had to wear a disguise. They had to show one face to the public, but then they had another face in private. And so this made them very good at espionage. And in the early years of the CIA, even before the CIA was founded, I write about some of these people who joined the OSS, the precursor to the CIA, some gay men and women who joined those intelligence agencies. And then once the Cold War begins, homosexuality almost becomes a weapon between the FBI and the CIA in the bureaucratic.
One of the most surprising things for me in the book is how this persisted even as gays participated more openly in our culture. 1980, Ronald Reagan's presidential campaign, a serious threat to this campaign is an actual investigation into whether he's surrounded by a homosexual ring.
Right. Yeah, this is one of the big scoops in my book. Going back to 1967, there was a gay scandal when Ronald Reagan was governor. But then in 1980, sort of new allegations were brought to the attention of Ben Bradley, the executive editor of the Washington Post, that he was surrounded by a right-wing gay cabal that was basically controlling him like a Manchurian candidate. It was a group of Republican congressmen who brought this to the Washington Post. The Washington Post investigated it. They did find several gay people working for Ronald Reagan, but the allegations that this was some sort of nefarious conspiracy didn't hold up, and they ended up not publishing anything. But the story does illustrate for you the real fear that this notion of homosexuality really had over our national politics for so many years.
What do you hope people take away from the book?
I came away from writing this very optimistic about the power of Americans to change their country for the better. I mean, if you look at the place, the status of gay people, when this book starts during the New Deal, the 1940s, this was the most despised minority in America. And to go from that place to now, where we have an openly gay man running for president on a major party ticket, who's now serving in the cabinet, it is just an unfathomable progression. And it makes me very proud and actually optimistic to be an American. But there's very little to be optimistic about in our world right now. But I have to say, writing this book, it made me very optimistic.
Secret City is out today. It's a fantastic book. James Kirchick, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.